How much would you pay Shohei Ohtani? I think every baseball fan wants Shohei Ohtani on their team next season, but how do you build a contract for such a unicorn type player? And will that amount you have to pay him make it possible for your team to still win? So let's figure out what you would offer him. I'm going to go through some math, but put in the comment section below what you would offer to get Shohei. Now let's try to figure out what I expect from him from a production standpoint over a certain amount of time, and then let's see what the market has paid for that type of production in the past. Now that might not sound too tough, but we've never seen a player like Shohei before. He's a 29-year-old two-way star that we've never seen. And to complicate things even further, he won't be able to pitch next year, and we don't know how much he can or if he even will want to pitch once he returns from Tommy John surgery. So let's start by trying to value him as basically two players: a position player that doesn't play defense and as a pitcher. Now, if you look at Fangraphs, he projects for 3.6 wins next season as a position player. And that's, again, not playing a defensive position. And he also projects for 3.5 wins as a pitcher, which he won't do because, again, he's getting surgery. Now, if we add those two numbers up, it's going to equal 7.1 wins, which is second behind Ronald Acuna, who leads the league in win projection for 2024 at 7.4 wins. Now, you need to take age into consideration because players are going to age or slow down their production as they get older. And one thing to keep in mind, the more well-rounded the player is, then they typically age a little bit slower. Players that can only do one thing will end up aging quicker. Now, Ohtani can obviously do a lot. He's very athletic, so he may age a little bit better than a non-athletic player. Now, the average player declines approximately a half a win each season, starting at the age of 30. But one thing that you have to also think about is that how long can Ohtani continue to both hit and pitch? He puts a tremendous amount of stress on his body, and no one has ever done this before. So we don't really know how long he can keep doing it. We already know that he will only hit next year. And this is what really scares me about signing him to a really long-term deal. So let's continue with this. Let's figure out how many wins he should be worth over the life of his contract. And for this, I'm just going to say that he's going to sign a 10-year deal. Now, next year he's worth 3.6 wins because he's not going to pitch. So you got to remove those wins from the equation. The following year he'd be worth 6.6 wins. Then the following year after that it'd be 6.1, then 5.6, then 5.1, then 4.6, and 4.1, then 3.6, and 3.1, then 2.6, for a total of 45 wins. Now, typically teams are going to pay somewhere around $8 million per win on the open market. And for long-term contracts, teams will usually pay maybe a little bit more. So let's do like $8.5 to $9 million per win. Now, this brings us to a 10-year contract worth somewhere around $385 to $405 million. Now, Ohtani also brings some uniqueness to the table because of his marketability on a global scale. He's also only one player, but he can hit and pitch. So he saves the team a roster spot, which does have some value. So to make it easy for right now, I'm going to say 10 years at $400 million. Now, Mike Trout has the biggest contract ever when he signed an extension for 12 years at $430 million. So it might take more than a 10-year deal to get Ohtani because I think he's going to sign the biggest contract ever. And here's the thing. Everyone wants Ohtani. There is a huge market for him, and you know that some teams are going to overpay him, and some might overpay him a lot. So although I'd like to pay him 10 years at $400 million, I think he probably ends up getting more, and probably a lot more than that. It wouldn't surprise me to see him getting 10 years at like $425 million, maybe even more than that. I could see teams going even more than 10 years, maybe going 11 years or 12 years, which would drive that total amount of money even higher. And at that point, we're getting like right around the $500 million range. And all of this could happen even with the questions around his pitching and how long he can continue to pitch and hit. I just don't think I could do it. I think I'd have to offer 10 years and $400 million, and I don't think there's a chance I get him. I think I'm gonna get outbid by a lot of teams. And I'm just too scared with him not playing a defensive position, even though he could probably play outfield if he didn't pitch anymore. But if he does pitch, can he keep doing what he's done as he ages? I just think it's too hard. I mean, it's obviously taken a toll to this point. He's a freak show, so maybe he can keep doing it. But I just can't see him hitting and pitching at this level into his mid-30s and even beyond. I just think it's too difficult, especially coming back from Tommy John surgery. So I think I'm going to have to cut it off at 10 years and $400 million and probably not get him. But if you were a GM of a team, what would you offer him? Put it in the comment section below. And if you wouldn't offer him, if you don't want him, let me know that as well. That's all we got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you later.